Hello everyone, Thempire in here with more new cards. They just always come in waves. They never come in ones, they always come in twos, or threes, or fours, or fives. So let's see what we got here. This is the new deck build pack. I'm really excited for these because every single one of these looks like a banger based on what we received earlier that showed us just like a brief preview, including the picture of this guy and a brief description of what they're supposed to do. Which I don't remember. These guys are like fusion guys. I don't remember what their like the rest of their stuff was, but I remember liking all three of them. So let's see what's going on here. These guys really heavily reminded me of the angels from Evangelion, particularly the more biological looking ones. Although at this point there's a lot of hands. There's an awful lot of hands in every single one of them, which is interesting. So it's kind of more giving Elden Ring maybe. There's a lot of hands in that, and I think Dark Souls 2 has a lot of hands, but Elden Ring specifically has a lot of hands. Hecatoncheire. So these are, I know Hecatoncheire. Chire? That's Greek. We're dealing with some Greek ass shit here. I'm just not 100% sure on the pronunciation of it, frankly. To be fair to myself, we don't actually know how ancient Greek was pronounced, if I'm remembering correctly, because ancient Greek and modern Greek are different languages. Essentially, they evolve, like the modern Greek evolves from ancient Greek, but there's some differences. So we don't have like exact, much like traditional Roman style Latin. We don't really have but I think there might be more of we have a little bit more of an idea of ancient Greek than we do of Roman style Latin, but I don't know. Anyways, it's a level 6 light illusion effect monster. 1600 attack, 2100 defense. You can only use the first and third of its cards once per turn. You can reveal this card in your hand, shuffle it into the deck, and special summon a Hecatoncheire monster from your Hecatoncheire sounds good. I think that's what it is. Cause like Jesus Christ, this is where I'm gonna have to go to. Jesus Christ is the Greek name for Jesus, and Christ is a CH, and so it's a K, not a Ch. The Chi-Rho is that Ch, or not the Chi-Rho, the Chi. This is the Greek letter Chi. Rho would be the second, the R part. So right here, the Rho would be over here. Chi-Rho is the symbol that the Romans would put on their shields in the Christian era. It comes from Constantine. He had this dream where God came to him in a vision and said, "If you put the Chi-Rho on your shields, you'll win in battle," and then he did. That's his conversion story. Conversion stories in that era were like a really powerful way to get people to follow your religion, which then could be used to solidify your imperial like power while demonizing people who don't convert, which allows you to remove less loyal parts of your empire. Anyways, I don't need to get into a history lesson. I know I'm a trained historian, but I don't need to get into a full history lesson. Suffice to say, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Kyre because of that. Because the Chi, I'm pretty sure, makes a K sound and not a Ch. So Hecatoncheire monster from your deck in defense position, except for Hecatoncheire Ebal. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle, because it's an illusion. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Hecatoncheire monster in your graveyard, except for Hecatoncheire Ebal, special summon it. Sure. Interesting. So if it's used like as fusion material, it would be able to trigger. The card is Ibd, armpit plus L, god. The armpit god. Ibd al-Jawza is a name for Beetlejuice. Okay. And then we have a girl. We had the. Wait, are they both women? I can't tell on this one. Is that a buff dude or a woman? I can't tell, and that's awesome. This one's a lot more hourglassed up. Hecatoncheire Yaddle, level 6 light illusion effect monster, 2100 attack, 1600 defense. So it's got the reverse attack and defense stats of the other one. It's interesting. You can only use the first or third effects of this card name each once per turn. You reveal this card in your hand, shuffle it into the deck, and add a Hecatoncheire spell trap into your deck to your hand. What did the other one do again? It special summon it in defense position. Okay. And then it has the illusion effect. And then this card is sent to the graveyard. You can target a Hecatoncheire spell trap in your graveyard. Set it. Interesting. So this one has the Yad again. Or it has... Oh, okay. Yad Al-Jawza is a name for Beetlejuice. So there's 2 names for it, I guess. And then it has the L again. And then we have Hecatoncheire Goddus. The Peter Molyneux game? Or is it... Wait, hold up. Which one's the right-wing grifter and which one's the video game developer who's also a bit of a grifter? Is it Peter or Stefan? Which one is which? I always get them mixed up. They're both Molyneux. Level 7 Dark Illusion effect monster with 2300, 2000. You can only use the first and third effects of this card name once per turn. If a card is added to your opponent's hand except during the draw phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay. Huh. So that's actually, I was about to say that's a poplar. It's actually like even more so if any card is added to your opponent's hand. Wait, hold up. Opponent's hand. So if your opponent searches something, you can summon this to the field. It's a hand crap. Let's go. Oh, this is really cool. This could be really interesting. If this card battles a monster, neither could destroy that battle. Okay. During a opponent's amazing phase, quick effect, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your field, and banish it when it leaves the field. Huh. That's pretty interesting. This card is great on its own. Just like, this is an individually strong card. Like if you've got a deck that could use an illusion monster, this is a really good card. The Chimera deck could use this, right? This is just like a good hand trap, essentially, that like your opponent adds something to their hand, as in they search anything, or just draw a card, except for during draw phase, and then you special summon this card from your hand. It's like a blocker, so if your opponent's like, if you're like in a bad situation and your opponent has cleared your board, it can block up stuff. And then also, it's a guy who can do a fucking DD Crow effect. It does what the deck we were looking at earlier, like last episode, does. What was that? Was that the new Art Magia cards? Yeah, it was one of the new Art Mage cards. It has that exact effect, except unlike that card, you can establish this on your turn, on your opponent's first turn, which makes it infinitely better. And then it banishes it when it leaves the field, so instead of going back to the opponent's graveyard, it gets fucking banished so they can't use it. That's really awesome. This card's great. Oh, interesting. So it's Goddus. It's Persian for holy, but it's intended to be Goddus, but then corrupted into Goddus. Okay, and then we have Hecatoncheire Gygas, or Gygas. That one's really going to depend on you. Like, this is a classic problem with the Godzilla fandom, with Godzilla movies, because like there's a monster called Gygan. All the Japanese movies say Gygan, but a lot of people say Gigan. So I used to say Gigan, but I say Gygan now because that's what all the movies say. But you know, it's a tough one. Level 7 Dark Illusion effect. I'm really distracted today, huh? Level 7 Dark Illusion monster, 1200, 2800 defense. You can only use the first and second cards per turn. If a card is added to your opponent's hand except for during draw phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. Okay, really interesting that 2 of these monsters have this. During a main phase, you can activate the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Special summon an activated monster, shuffle the rest back into the deck. Huh. That's interesting. You can special summon one excavated monster, I assume, to your field? It doesn't say specifically. If this card battles a monster, neither will be destroyed by that battle. Sure. God, this guy's looking fucked. Hecatoncheire Breus. Level 7 Dark Illusion Effect Monster, 2800, 1300 defense. You can only use the first and second once per turn. If a card is added to your opponent's hand outside the draw phase, you can special summon this card from your hand, of course. During the main phase, you can look at one random card in your opponent's hand, and if it is a monster, special summon it to your field. Wow, that's really strange. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. So these fuckers really are like, yeah, no, you're gonna play on your opponent's turn. You will play on your opponent's turn. Fuck your opponent. Alright, so here's the really cool guy that we were looking at the beginning. We got the teaser that really looks like an angel from Evangelion. Hecatoncheire Gygas. Level 8 Light Illusion Fusion Effect Monster, 2400, 2500. Materials, 1 Hecatoncheire monster plus 1 Illusion monster. Okay, pretty easy to make. Must first fusion summon or special summon your extra deck by attributing an Illusion monster, 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, owned, or 1 face-up monster you control owned by your opponent. So it's got the vampire text. So you can fusion summon it and make it the hard way, or you can tag in, you can, oh, what is the name for that? Why am I blanking on the name for that? You know, to do the tag fusion with a face-up card you've stolen from your opponent. I'm like, unfortunately, these cards don't really synergize well with what are all these? They're all illusions and they're dark and light. They don't really synergize well with vampires, unfortunately, which would help with that. And it's tributing too. That's interesting. During your main phase, you can add a Hecatoncheire card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed that battle. Okay. Sure. It's just a searcher. And then we have this freak. Now, I was talking about Godzilla earlier. This kind of looks like Batra, but he's got like arms for some reason. It's like a worm, but he's got arms. All right. Hecatoncheire Xeno, level 9 Dark Illusion Effect Monster, 3400 and 3500. Requires 3 Hecatoncheire monsters. You can only use the first and third effects of this card name each once per turn. During the main phase, quick effect, you look at 2 random face-down cards in your opponent's extra deck, and if you do, special summon one of them to your field. Wow. And there's no restrictions on anything about that, other than the fact that it doesn't count as the proper summoning. Which is actually really funny because then when it goes to the opponent's graveyard, they can't summon it back. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. If this fusion summon card in the owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can take control of any number of monsters they control. Yeah, I know Xeno means foreign in Greek. I think everyone understands that. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. This one's really interesting for a boss monster. It's got a lot of really interesting effects. So it only takes a look at 2 random face-down cards from the opponent's extra deck, and special summons one of those. So you get to choose between the 2 random face-down you see. Which is, I think, a better way of doing this effect than like the way Unicorn works, where you get to look at the entire extra deck and then get rid of one of them. I think that's kind of fucked. Although in this case, like, you just get bad luck and then you're fucked. And that might even feel worse, actually. Hecatoncheire Tartarus. Uh-oh. Lustrals. They're moving in on your terrain. They've got Tartarus before you do. They made a Tartarus card before Lustrals got to it. I mean, Lustrals has a concept of Tartarus. It's their ban list, but they don't have a card for it yet. Quick play spell. Activate one of these effects, so you can only choose each effect of this card's name once per turn. If you control a Hecatoncheire monster, target a spell trap your opponent controls, return it to the hand. Okay. I think that effect sucks. I guess it could be handy sometimes, but man, that's really bad. Special summon a Hecatoncheire fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing its material from your field and or graveyard. If you use face-up monsters you control owned by your opponent, you can treat them as Hecatoncheire monsters. Okay, so that helps you get out this fucker. Interesting. I think the second effect makes this pretty good, and then the other effect is icing on the cake, so it doesn't matter that it's not particularly good, because it'll come up in some situations, and otherwise you're just using the other effect. So that's pretty cool. I like this. I think this is a really interesting way to design spell traps, honestly, where you have one effect that's like the main reason to play the card, and you have a backup effect that is not particularly good, but can be useful in very specific situations. Yeah, it makes it gives it some like tech utility. Ibd at al Hecatoncheire. Hecatoncheire. I don't know why I said Hecatoncheire. I'm tired, that's why. You can only activate one card of this card's name per turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you control a Hecatoncheire monster, negate the activation, and then destroy the monster, and then special summon it to your field. Wow, this card's insane. Wow, this card is crazy. Negate, destroy, and then take it. Wow. Yad al Hecatoncheire. Another counter trap. There's 2 counter traps in this deck. You can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. When your opponent activates a spell trap card, you control a Hecatoncheire monster. Negate the activation, and if you do destroy that card, then set it to your field. So you get to do it with spell traps too. That's gonna be less useful, but like still, dude. This deck is really interesting. I think it's gonna be fucked to play against, but there's a lot of really interesting card design going on in here. I'm interested to see what people do with it, but like I think I wouldn't enjoy playing against it, right? I feel like playing against this would be a nightmare. It seems decent. So you've got 2 starters that shuffle themselves into the deck for some reason. I guess they're not really normal summonable. And then if they're sent to the... Like, what are you supposed to do with these to get them into the graveyard, then? I guess you could summon them from the deck. And then use them as material to then... get the extra value off of them. Or maybe if you have to discard at some point. Then these 3 are play on your opponent's turn cards. Does this deck want to go second? I feel like this deck might want to go second. Maybe? I don't know. But if you go first, you could probably do a little bit of setup. I think you want to go first and try and open one of these guys. Probably more specifically this one, where you can special summon one of these freaks from the deck, get them onto the field, and then let them do their stuff. But the thing is, you want to summon Ebel off of Ebel on it. I feel like I want to summon Ebel off of Ebel so I can get the Ebel effect, third Ebel effect off as well. And then this one doesn't summon a fucker; it gets you a spell trap, and the spell traps don't get you fuckers. I think this is going to need a second wave. And the more I think about this deck, the more I think this is going to need like a second wave to do anything. Because like it doesn't do anything going first. Like it doesn't really have like a good starter. Like, okay, you use Ebel. Ebel special summons a Hecatoncheire monster. What are you getting off of that? Well, you could get Yadel, and then Yadel doesn't do anything when it's on the field. And then when it's sent to the graveyard for like your fusions or something, you can target a Hecatoncheire spell trap in your graveyard and set it. Where are you getting that from? You have to open Yadel to get a spell trap. Okay, so let's move on to Goddus. Maybe you want to go with Goddus. Well, if you go with Goddus, then you're not getting this effect. So that doesn't matter. This effect doesn't matter. And then during your opponent's main phase, quick effect, you target a card. This effect is like decent, but if that's all you're ending on in this situation, because they don't have a single normal summon. So you use that one card to shuffle back into the deck and then summon this guy, and that's all he does. Or you could grab Gygas, who then can excavate 3 cards to the opponent's deck and then special summon one of them, which means you could go into Jaza, assuming you hit one, of course. You have to hit a monster to do this, so that's a little bit of a gamble. You could go into Breus instead, and then look at a random card in the opponent's hand, and if it's a monster, you special summon it. This is probably the one you have to go into, because it's the most likely to hit. Instead of looking at 3 cards like this, you're looking at 5 cards, going first, of course. Well, no, you're not. You're only looking at 1 card, aren't you? Because you're looking at 1 random card in the opponent's hand. You're not looking at the entire opponent's hand. So you don't even get hand knowledge. You get the 1 card, and if it's a monster, summon it. So, really, it's a 1 in 40 chance, kinda. I think it evens out to that, basically. Whereas this, it's, you know, a 3 in 40 chance. Well, it's not really, because you have to value in, like, how many monsters in the deck versus how many... But, like, a 3 in 40 chance to hit any one individual card, which could... if you assume there's going to be 1 monster in the deck, you know, that's your, like, base minimum. And so that... Like, you can get... If you get that... I guess if your opponent hand traps you, you can use the Goddus effect. And that'll guarantee you get 1. So if your opponent has hand trapped you already... but if they've hand trapped you already, then I don't think you're getting here. Unless the hand trap was a mulch army, right? In which case you're giving them a bunch of draws. So then let's say you hit and you get the Gygas. Gygas then adds a Hecatoncheire card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. What are you grabbing? Are you grabbing the Yaddle now? You use Yaddle to grab a spell trap? What are you grabbing? Tartarus? And Tartarus can let you fusion summon by banishing from field or grave. But you've only got 2 in grave. You've got, you know, one of these 3. The other 2 have shuffled themselves back into the deck. And you've got the fusion. You don't have any face-up monsters you control owned by your opponent yet, because you haven't had a chance to do that, unless you happen to have something in hand. But we're talking about 1-card combos here. We're trying to think of what you can do with 1 card, because that's what every deck has to think about these days. You could get a monster negate that special summons it, which is cool, or you could get a spell trap negate that sets it, which is less cool. But then that's all you're ending on, is a single negate, no pops, no banishes, no bounces, no nothing. And you have to hope that whatever else in hand is able to do the rest of it for you. And then, like, even if you do get more stuff on field, and you go for the Tartarus instead, what are you doing? You're summoning a random card from your opponent's extra deck of 2 that you randomly pick, and you get a monster that can brain control monsters if it's destroyed in an opponent's card effect. So you're reliant on what your opponent's playing and your luck in digging in through what your opponent's playing, and you're also relying on luck to get even off to the races at all, and you're relying on opening like 2 specific cards. And then you're not getting to access to the counter traps, so you're ending on nothing. Yeah, no, I don't think these are like... These have really powerful sounding effects. I think they need more. They need a lot more. They need more to actually like function as a deck. I think going second, they have a bit more going on, just because the opponent now has stuff on the field that you can mess around with. But even then, they don't really, none of them mess around with things on the field, except for the, like, destruction effect of Xeno. So in that case, you really need to be able to, do something else. I guess you want to play these maybe with the Chimera stuff, but I don't know. I think the Chimera deck, can use some of these cards, but I don't think it's going to be a Hecatoncheire deck. I think it's going to be a Chimera deck with a couple of Hecatoncheire cards in for utility purposes. Like, I think, what is it? Goddus has like a really good potential has like a lot of potential for Chimera as a deck, but that's because it's a really solid individual illusion monster. And I'm not sure you'll play any of the other cards in that. Maybe the fusion. But what does the fusion even do? Like, the fusion doesn't do anything except for add a Hecatoncheire card. I guess you could run one of the negates and leave this guy on field, you know, and then use him as material after you use up the trap. That's something, I guess. Damn, I feel like these are really cool looking cards, and they have really interesting ideas for what they want to do. But the problem is, if you have a deck that relies so much on what your opponent is up to, your opponent can just be up to something else. Like, they could just not be up to that, right? I guess these kind of do punish a lot of hand trap heavy decks. Like, you're playing a whole bunch of engine that happens to be monsters, and you're playing a whole lot of mulch armies and such, and droll. That's all monsters you can hit off the top or in the hand. So that's like something. And then it gets them out of the hand too. That's a really nice part. It's like there's definitely potential here. Like, I don't think these are dead in the water, but they're gonna need a pretty good second wave in order to help push them over the top, I think. Yeah, I think that's my thoughts on these. Let me know what you think of these down below. I'm looking forward to the rest of these, because there was another archetype that also looked very Evangelion, but more the robotic kinds of angels. So I'm interested in seeing what those are up to. And the other ones were just like mechanical Nekomimi girls. Is that the word for it? Anyways, I'm looking forward to the next reveals for this deck build pack. I hope you are too. Let me know what you think of these ones down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Hey there, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've got a lot more for you if you want them. Just hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to get notifications. I'd also appreciate if you left me a like and a comment, and maybe shared the video around with your friends. You can also follow me on all the usual social media sites. Just check out my website in the description below for more info. My videos are funded by my patrons, Ko-fi subscribers, and YouTube members, whose names you'll see scrolling by in the credits here. For just $1 a month, you too could find yourself here, trapped in my end screen for all eternity. In particular, I'd like to thank Jeremy Coatney, Frog Prince Michael, Fleakill, Haru Hayes, the Almighty Ferret Lord, and Fire Mizumi. A big thanks to all my other patrons and to my little community as a whole. Remember to be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and have a wonderful whatever time it is for you. Bye-bye.